Welcome to Becoming Limitless. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to optimize their brain and their body with biohacking. I'm going to teach you how to eliminate brain fog and upgrade your health so you can have more productivity, energy, and growth in your business. I'm your host, Tanessa Shears. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the Becoming Limitless podcast. This is the second of a two-part series that I started last week, all on the Entrepreneur's Optimization Ladder. So if you missed last week's episode, go back and listen to that one first, because it is going to make this episode make so much more sense and you are going to know how to utilize it the best. So once you've optimized your body for health and eliminated some of the most notorious causes of brain fog, we are now going to shift gears and focus on leveling up your brilliant business-focused brain. So like I said in the last episode, these are all progressive steps on biohacking and optimizing your brain and body so you can be more productive, energetic, and focused in your business. These are like giving you the front of the box of a puzzle when you have all the pieces in your hand. It gives you the overall picture so that you know what you're working towards. Then you go to work and start in your corner of the puzzle and master it before moving on to another area. So in today, I'm going to be covering the final 3 phases of the ladder. And we are taking into account that by the time you implement these, you have spent consistent time achieving amazing things on your food, with your sleep, and your movement, and your body is feeling energized, and you are ready to take on the next level, which is biohacking your mind. We are going to be covering stress management, mindset and discipline, and lastly, workflow on today's episode. These are the skill sets that I believe separate out the 6-figure businesses from the 7-figure businesses. So these are the skills that are going to help you continue to scale far beyond what you ever thought was possible. So, like I said before, it's not that these steps have to go in this special order or that this is the only way that it can be done. Like, this is the way that I have had the most success, not only personally, but with my clients. And I find it is a logical progression of what you are ready to take on next. So, we're going to jump in with stress management because as entrepreneurs, we are constantly under stress, whether it is emotional stress or physical stress from sitting all day, or mental stress from being, making so many decisions in our business, from what colors to put on the sales page, to the copy to write, to, writing out the systems and processes for our businesses. Our brains are always working, and we need to make sure that we have contrast so that our brains can continue showing up ready to go the next day. So when we're talking about the stress management rung on our ladder, the goal is to be able to assess a situation that's in front of you, develop an awareness of the thoughts you are thinking and why the situation is happening, and then create an emotional shift, usually out of stress and into something much more neutral. This is a skill of entrepreneurs that can successfully manage their thinking and no longer get thrown for a complete loop when something doesn't go well, or a link breaks, or a video doesn't work, or a payment link isn't set up properly. These are all things that happen, and we need to know how to respond in a way that serves us and our business and doesn't leave us feeling completely overwhelmed. So after mastering all of the action steps that I'm going to be covering in just a moment, these are the key performance indicators to know if you are on the right track in learning how to effectively manage your stress. So, number 1, you are able to proactively stop a spiral of thoughts by assessing what is going on. So, have you ever had one of those moments where you're thinking about something like, I'm not going to finish this. I don't have enough time. Oh my gosh, there's so many more emails coming in. What am I going to do? My time, I don't have enough time. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Or your brain just starts circling on those same thoughts over and over again. It's kind of like, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, shoot, I'm not going to get enough sleep. What time is it right now? Oh, okay. So if I go to sleep right now, I could probably get 3 hours more of sleep. And so you lay there and I'm like, oh, well, if I can't fall asleep, then now I'm only going to get like 2.5 hours sleep. Now your brain is just stressing out and you're counting backwards and you're doing math. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. And if I'm so tired tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to feel terrible. That is a thought spiral. So you will know if you have effectively learned how to manage your stress, if you are able to stop a spiral from getting out of hand. Your thoughts are still going to take off because that's our human brain, but you just don't follow them anymore. KPI number 2 is that you have time allotted on your schedule to hobbies and downtime. These are 2 things that entrepreneurs never make enough time for. Enjoying the lifestyle and the life that your business has created for you. So we need to make sure we have time allotted for enjoying your life. Number 3 is to set boundaries on your work hours. I have seen way too many entrepreneurs that will work until 2 a.m. and be up again at 6, and they are just burning themselves into the ground. There needs to be a point in time at which you can turn off business. It does not mean that, you need to have these cushy hours or barely be working. It's just that when you are not working on your business, you don't allow your brain to be consumed by business things. You are involved with the family you're spending time with, or your partner, or your pet, or you're just having a break from always being consumed by thoughts of your business. KPI number 3 is that you intentionally are able to decide how you're going to show up as you move between tasks and activities. Most of us just show up to the next task. When something gets checked off our to-do list, we just launch right into the next thing with no thought on resetting our energy and deciding how we want to show up. So like I said, those KPIs for stress management are being able to stop a thought spiral, allocating time to hobbies and downtime, setting boundaries on your work hour, and intentionally deciding how you're going to show up. So let's talk about some actions now. One of the best skills that you can learn how to do is to self-coach. This is the ability of you to enter into your brain, figure out what is going on, gain an awareness, and allow you to shift out of it because you are able to see what is really going on. So one of the things that I love to do is called a thought download, meaning you grab a sheet of paper, open a note on your computer, and start writing down all the thoughts that are circling in your head because they feel so overwhelming because they're so loud and there's so many of them. Getting them down onto paper actually slows the thought process down and lets you start analyzing whether these thoughts are true or not. And from there, you get to decide, do I want to continue thinking these thoughts? Is this true? What else might be true? So that process of understanding how to self-coach yourself is going to be instrumental in managing your stress. The next action step is to reconnect with your breathing. It is super important to learn how to breathe properly. And I read a book ages ago about how to properly breathe. And I didn't even know at the time that I wasn't supposed to be breathing with my upper body, having my shoulders move up and down. It was actually my stomach that was supposed to be moving. And this showed me that I was spending so much time feeling stressed out because I was barely breathing. Then I took my breathing education a step further when I actually went and saw a pelvic floor physiotherapist last year and learned how the whole pelvic floor and abdominal muscle group breathe together. So understanding how breath is supposed to function properly in the body really is a wonderful way of allowing you to get in the air to help you breathe when you are feeling overwhelmed. Alternatively, there are other techniques that you can do like square breathing to help calm you down. So square breathing is one that I actually use when I wake up in the middle of the night and I need to put myself back to sleep. So think of it like this. Square breathing is when you inhale for a count of 4. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath and exhale 2, 3, 4, and hold. So it's essentially making a square. If you think of the inhale as up, hold as across, exhale down, hold as across. It's making a square. This is something that really helps calm my mind down when I find that my brain is spiraling when I'd rather be sleeping. The last action step is actually something that I went over in detail in episode 20, and that is all about planning ahead of time for self-care and doing a cognitive load detox. This is where you allow your brain to experience contrast from all the decision making and thinking you're doing in your business. It is time that your brain is allowed to just focus on one thing, like going for a walk and just listening to the birds, or, cooking in the kitchen, or just having a conversation with your partner, or watching a TV show without your phone in your hand. There are so many things that we pile on top of one another from activities. Like we're always having to, listen to a podcast while we're on a walk and, be having music on and also having a conversation while also trying to be taking our makeup off at the end of the day. And our brains tend to get very overwhelmed. So we need to make sure we're planning ahead of time for self-care and allowing our brain to detox. So what might come up as a roadblock? Well, one of them, and I know firsthand from thinking this myself and also from hearing this from my clients, is that thinking that doing a thought download won't help you. Nothing changed my mind about this more than when my first business coach said to me, you know what? If you don't think you're the problem, you don't think you're the solution. So what she meant by that is if you don't realize that the way you're feeling is likely created from your thinking, you won't think that you can change the way you're feeling from your thinking. If you don't think your thoughts are the problem, you also don't think your thoughts are the solution. So when I truly started seeing that my thoughts are the ones that are creating how I'm feeling all the time, if that is true, then I can also change the way I'm feeling and feel better and manage my stress by changing my thinking. That was a huge one, and nothing proved that to me more than actually taking part in this activity and seeing it at work. Roadblock number 2 is you tell yourself this stress is temporary. Just till I get this project done. This one client, there's just this one client I have to finish up. At the end of this month, at the end of this quarter, when I make $600,000, when I have my first $100,000 month, we have all of these thoughts that tell us that this stress is totally temporary. But the people that say that are usually the people that find that they are in perpetual stress and take it from one project to the next. Roadblock number 3 is that we are thinking about work non-stop or way too much. Meaning even when we're spending time with our family, we're checking our email, or we're replying to Instagram messages, or we're checking our revenue, or, we're doing our bookkeeping. We are never able to fully disengage. So developing a process to be able to have a work stop time so that you can be present with those people you care about is important, not only for your well-being, but for the relationships in your life. By learning how to manage your stress, whether that be mental, emotional, or physical, and not living in perpetual go, hustle, and overwhelm, you will get to enjoy so much more there is to offer in your life. Like the feelings of just being content and in flow and joy. Those are the things that we miss out on at the expense of consistent overwhelm. So let's go into the next rung on our ladder, which if we include last week's 3, this will be number 5, rung number 5. And it's all about your mind. The goal of this step is to develop unshakable self-discipline. You have to have self-respect for yourself and do what you say you're going to do. It's like having your own back. This is one of those essential qualities of entrepreneurs that are constantly able to grow and show up and bring their businesses to higher and higher levels. So the reason this step in particular comes after stress management is because the last level of the ladder that we learned about, all about stress management, is about learning not to be reactive to your environment, to your customers, to your business. Learning how to manage your emotions in a way which serves you instead of always being at the mercy of stress. This rung of the ladder is actually more about being proactive. So if stress management is about learning how not to be reactive, mindset and self-discipline is learning how to use those skills to be proactive. So let's talk about what the key performance indicators are if you are successfully managing your mind and are creating amazing self-discipline. So number 1, you will always be beginning each day with a list of non-negotiable tasks that need to get completed. This is the list which you are prioritizing your workday around. These are the things that need to get completed to move your business forward. On this list are big things. They're not things like check my email, do my bookkeeping. These are going to be the things that are going to be the powerful impact things in your business. Another KPI is that you complete all the assigned tasks that you planned into your calendar. So if you look back on the episode I did all about the most important hour of each week, I plan out ahead of time every single task that is going into every single workbook for the entire week. So I know that my mind is well managed and I am exhibiting self-discipline if I get to the end of the week and all of those tasks are being completed. If they're not, I'm making sure that I'm checking in and trying to learn why I did that, why I didn't do with that task, and what I can do differently next time. The other KPI you're looking at is, are you following through on all your workouts, your nutrition protocol, your movement and stress management goals? Is there a sense of follow through in the stuff you are working on? Or are things falling off of the plate? These are things we're wanting to look at to make sure that we are mastering self-discipline. So what does working on an amazing mindset look like when it comes to the actions? So you are self-coaching yourself on growth weekly. So there is a process that I like to do called a belief scale. And it's basically looking at what my confidence is in the goals that I'm setting, that I'm actually going to complete them. We look at like how deep is your belief that you're actually going to hit this goal you've set for yourself, and what would it take to get there? And I start looking at what are the feelings I'm going to feel, the thoughts I'm going to have, and the actions I'm going to take in order to guarantee that I am completing this outcome. Like, how in belief am I that I'm going to be moving my business forward and doing the things that need to get me there? So self-coaching on Self-Growth Weekly is something that I am always engaging in to keep my mind sharp and focused on where I want to go. Action number 2 is to make a task list each morning, or like I was doing on Saturday, I make it for the entire week all at once, and make that task list and have it handy on your desk all day long so that you are constantly seeing it. It is top of mind. So I do mine on a Trello board, and I always have a Trello tab open so that I am able to always be looking in, seeing what needs to get done, and making sure that my time is being managed effectively. The last action is to do a future identity analysis. So a great one that I always like to ask is, what would Tanessa be like at $1 million a year in revenue? What would I need to be doing differently? How would I need to be thinking differently? How would I need to be feeling differently? Or how would I need to be acting differently in order to be that version? Because I know that to get to that level, I'm going to have to be showing up different than I do at my current level. So by doing this future identity analysis, you're able to tap into that future version of you. And this is so important because when you go to make decisions in your life or your business, you have a standard with which to evaluate your decisions by. Meaning you can be like, all right, I have this decision in my business. What would the version of me making $1 million a year or 6 figures a year or whatever your goal is, what would that version of me decide in that situation? And by consistently making decisions from that place, you move towards it. This has been instrumental in the growth of my business over the last couple of years and about keeping me future focused and out of the drama that my brain likes to throw up in the present moment. So here are the 4 self-discipline and mindset roadblocks that I see all the time and have definitely come across myself. So number 1 is not making that list of priorities and stuff that needs to get done no matter what. Roadblock number 2 is not following the list after you've made it. These are all great places to start self-coaching and evaluating what needs to change for you to start successfully hitting these goals. Roadblock number 3 is that we don't take the time to self-coach, meaning we make the list, maybe we follow up, maybe we don't, but we never follow up on the reasons or the why behind why we're not being as consistent as we'd like to be. We just tend to sweep it under the rug and hope it will be better next time. But then you often are finding that circumstances are repeating themselves and you're giving yourself the same results over and over again. The last and final roadblock is that we feel that we are a victim to our circumstances. So we think that people, things people say, the weather, things out there, meaning things outside of us, are what are causing our feelings. It's not about feeling happy or productive all the time, but it's about taking responsibility for the exact results we are creating and understanding that if the way we are thinking is creating the feelings we have, and the feelings we have are either causing us to take action or not take action, those actions or inactions are what are creating our results, our business growth, our relationships, whether we stick to our food protocol. So we need to understand that by taking responsibility, it allows us the power to be able to change things. So the roadblock in that is thinking that things outside of you are causing your results. So we went from developing the skill of no longer needing to be reactive to all of the situations in our business and our lives that cause us overwhelm, to being proactive and deciding how to think by being self-disciplined. Now this last rung on the ladder is all about growth and acceleration. We are talking about workflow and deep work. So the goal of this rung of the ladder, if you've mastered it, is to be able to complete focused blocks of work in which you produce results-oriented, high-level work. And now I do want to put a caveat to this is obviously if you have kids, you're going to be doing the best you can, because having a business that is run out of my house, I can tell you right now that it is near impossible to completely eliminate all distractions. But we know what is going on, we take inventory, and we do the best we can. So here are the KPIs for workflow and deep work. So KPI number 1 is that you have sustained blocks of uninterrupted work, meaning your brain is able to focus on a single task for an extended period of time without feeling that constant urge to be distracted, to check Facebook, to check email. Your brain is actually able to stay focused on one thing at a time. The second KPI is you use a system to organize your workflow or your tasks. So like I've said on a bunch of other episodes, I love using Trello. There are so many apps. You can use calendars, you can use a notebook. You just have to be using some kind of system so that you constantly know what you are working on. There is nothing that is a poorer use of time than showing up to your business and not having a clue what to work on that day. By deciding it all ahead of time, not only do you save the brain energy from having to make that decision in the moment, but you get to work a lot faster. And lastly, KPI number 3 is that all of the important activities that you have organized in your workflow are calendared, meaning I can look at your calendar and know by what date the tasks are being completed so that ultimately you move down the road towards your results. So what does this look like in action? Well, the biggest one that is going to make the best difference on your ability to focus is practicing single focus throughout the day on as many activities as you can, meaning being present with your family, being present in your relationships, listening, putting our phone down, just watching a TV show without having another device in your hands. Practice focusing on one thing at a time and teaching your brain that it doesn't need to constantly being distracted. Feeling bored is not a bad thing. It is a habit that we have created to depend on having so many things distract us to keep us happy. Number 2, create dedicated phone off periods. For me, my phone is always off and away during family time as the best I can. I can't say that I'm 100% perfect at this, but when I'm watching TV, my phone is across the room. I don't even keep it within arm's length reach because I know I will reach for it. I put my phone on airplane mode after 7:30 p.m. at night so that I can make sure that my brain is winding down. So it might be different for you, but dedicate periods of time where you don't use your phone at all. Another action would be to look into the app brain.fm. If you haven't heard of this, you have to check out episode 9 of this podcast that I did all on biohacking your brainwaves. This is an app that helps your brain dial in and stay focused without getting distracted by all of the external things going on in your office environment. The next action is to define deep and light work blocks. So a deep work block is one in which you are doing work that needs to be uninterrupted, whether you are writing copy or developing an outline for something and it needs all of your focus and needs to be uninterrupted. So that is the type of work that is required for deep work. That's contrasted with light work blocks, which are great for things like posting on social media or checking emails or responding to clients, things where your brain does not need to be in such a deep focus. Now, a lot of this does have to do with your chronotype. So for me, my chronotype is a lion, which means means my body functions on like a go to sleep at 9 and wake up at 5 rhythm. My brain best organizes concepts and plans around 6 in the morning, but my brain is also primed for deep work between 10 and 12 and light work between 1 and 4:30. So if you're curious about exactly how your chronotype functions with relation to deep work and light work, definitely check out the book, The Power of When by Dr. Michael Bruce, where he talks about how your chronotype, meaning how your body functions relative to a 24-hour clock and when your hormones go up and down and your temperature and your sleep rhythm and all of those wonderful things. He talks in detail about that in this book, and it is a fantastic book. If you haven't picked it up yet, I highly recommend it. But like I said, because I know when my work blocks are, I know when to plan in my deep work. I know to do my client calls as much as possible in the afternoon because that is when my brain is geared for that light work. Another action is to calendar block all of your activities by type. Again, I have that episode that is all about the most important hour of every week, but making sure that you're not, just throwing in check emails in between writing copy, understanding that certain tasks require deep work and certain tasks require light work, and making sure that you keep those tasks together so that you can use your brain when it is deep in focus for the activities that matter most, and then give your brain a break while you're doing the light activities. So with deep work, I think it is important to say that that is something that you have to build like a muscle. At the beginning, it is very easy to get distracted, and setting small goals of like 30 minutes at a time of deep work are wonderful. The more practice you get, the longer you're going to be able to stay in that deep work and that flow state. All right, let's go on to your roadblocks. What are the roadblocks that might come up when we're talking about your workflow? Well, having too many tabs open or having your email open all the time. If every time your email goes off, you are constantly switching applications and jumping in between tasks, your brain is being transitioned back and forth between tasks, and you are losing your ability to be productive, stay in flow, and get the most out of your time. Another roadblock is having your phone on loud. If you're constantly having text messages and phone calls, personal calls come in while you're trying to stay focused at work, then you are not going to get nearly as much done. Although, of course, this is going to, depend on whether you have kids that need to get a hold of you, or, you need to keep your phone on for certain reasons. But if you are able to just silence your phone while you are working, you are going to get much more done during that focused work time. Another roadblock is not time blocking or having, dedicated specific tasks in specific work blocks. If you're just floating through your day and, doing what you feel like doing in the moment, you are likely not going to be as productive as if you show up to your day with a ready to go list of result-oriented tasks. The last roadblock is thinking that you don't need to do time watching. So I always have my clients, when we're really looking into this concept, map out what they're doing with their time for a couple days. And what they'll often find is that they spend much more time in distraction than they would have thought. And it is this process of being able to observe it actually happening and observe the time they are losing that really allows them to see where they can clean it up and stop all of the time leaking that is happening. So today we have covered all of the different ways and the rungs on the ladder of our entrepreneur's optimization ladder on how to biohack your mind and give you the skills that you need to grow your business and scale faster, because you have the energy to show up and be productive and focused. So these are the concepts that I'm covering on repeat with my clients. We are talking about food. We are talking about sleep, movement, stress management, mindset and self-discipline, and of course, workflow. These are the 6 fundamental rungs on this ladder that create fully optimized entrepreneurs. And I'm talking about entrepreneurs that are operating at 90% of their peak capacity with sharp, focused, and clear brains. Isn't this how we all want to feel? Like, we want to feel excited and charged, and we want to be able to manage stress really well, right? So you can take this fundamental framework that I have given you, identify where you are. Are you still working on sleep, or have you moved all the way up to stress management, or are you settling in and working on workflow? All of these different areas are available to you, and I have given you not only the goal for each step, but how I measure success, as well as the actions that you can take to get the goal achieved. I hope this has been an illuminating episode where you can almost take a step back and see the full picture about what it means to be fully optimized and what all of the different areas are. Remember, it's not about doing all of these things at once and thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. It's like, okay, cool. I see the puzzle. Now I'm going to step back and start working in this little corner over here, and I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to get it mastered, and I'm going to be really good at it. And then I'm going to move on and begin climbing up this ladder. And at the top of that ladder is optimized you. And this is what we're aiming for. This is what is going to make you the entrepreneur that you've always wanted to be. And this is how you move towards becoming limitless. Now, if you do want to join me one-on-one and have me coach you through this entire process and help you develop a step-by-step set of protocols that are specific to you, I would love for you to reach out to me either on Instagram or through my website, TanessaShears.com, and book a consultation call with me. During this call, I'm going to hear all about what you're working on and where you are right now. Then I will tell you exactly step-by-step how I will get you from where you are now to where you want to go. At the end, we will discuss whether working together is a perfect fit and how we can start our journey working together to help you become completely optimized. I hope this has been a really helpful episode. I have given you the entire behind the scenes walkthrough of what it means to be optimized, all of the things I have implemented in my life, the steps I walk my clients through. I would love to hear where you are right now. What step are you working on and where are you getting stuck? Reach out and let me know. Tag me on Instagram. And if you have questions on any of this, definitely feel free to email me. I love answering your questions and hearing from you. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Bye. Ready to begin each day feeling energized and focused? I'd love to work with you one-on-one. In my Becoming Limitless program, you're going to learn how to optimize your brain and body with science and biohacking so you can be highly productive and grow your business faster. Join me over at TanessaShears.com/work with me. I'll see you there.